You will get kidnapped. Are you crazy? Why are you going there? I was really nervous in the border when I was going to Iraq because I thought, okay, I'm gonna die like directly when I enter the border. In the news, it was just bombs, terror, death.
And how is it for a solo female to travel in Iraq? That's another thing. Hello, my beautiful people. I hope you're doing well. I'm Kiko. I'm currently traveling from Sweden to Nepal. And I'm traveling by motorcycle, solo, by myself. My motorcycle is a Transalp XL 650V from 2005. And the country I recently traveled to was Iraq. And I had a lot of questions about this place, how it was to travel there, is it safe, how is it for a solo rider to go there, solo female, a lot of questions. So I thought I'd make a video and I will answer all these questions for you. So let's start. So one question I got is, how is the road condition in Iraq? And that's pretty different. Like in Kurdistan region, you have decent roads in the cities. If you go outside the cities, they can be half-half, a lot of potholes, and yeah, it's okay. But still, you gotta be careful and ride during the daytime. Always ride during the daytime if you're on a motorcycle. Car, it's easier with a car than a motorcycle. If you hit a pothole with a motorcycle, you can end up in big danger. So you just gotta be careful. Federal Iraq is a little bit worse than the Kurdistan area. So from Erbil to Baghdad, it wasn't that good, honestly. Some parts was asphalt with a lot of potholes, and some parts could be just gravel suddenly with a lot of bumps and rocks and stuff. But yeah, that's how it is. And traffic can be a little bit hectic. But the beautiful thing with the human beings are that we are adjustable. We adjust everything. So after a week, I came into the rhythm of the Iraqi traffic. So just be careful. A thing with Iraq that was a bit shocking for me was that, like, if you're driving on a two-lane road, suddenly cars can sneak over to your lane and drive the opposite way. So when you're driving there, you suddenly see a car coming towards you. And usually it's because the other side of the road is so bad, so they choose to come on this side. So the Iraqis know this. They know how it works. But for me in the beginning, it was a big shock. I was like, whoa, okay, it's coming a car towards me. But I mean, in general, it's okay. It's okay. How was the language barrier? I was speaking Arabic, I just learned a few words before I arrived to Iraq, and I learned on the way as well. So hello, thank you, how are you, and other basic words to use. Otherwise, I use Google Translate for everything, and you do a lot of body language. All the time, actually. But it's no problem. You find your way in communicating somehow. It's not a problem. And it's actually really fun. Sometimes I was just laughing my ass off. If you want to eat something, it's like, is it pop pop chicken? Is it moo cow? You find your way. It's no problem. You just take a little more time. You just gotta be patient and it all works out. I'm not stressed about that at all with the language barriers. You find your way. What is the best food you tried in Iraq? Well, one of them is maskouf. It's the barbecued fish. It's a fish you put above the fire and you barbecue it, and it has a delicious marinade, and you eat it with your hands. It's so good. It was one of my favorites. And then you have the Iraqi dolmats, which is grapefruit leaves stuffed with rice and other things, and they're so good. And well, the dates is from a different planet. The dates you try in Sweden, they are nothing compared to this. Wow, It's just an explosion in your mouth trying them, all different kind of them. So yeah, and especially one thing I tried was a date which they cut up and they put a walnut in that one. That's such a good dessert, like a little candy. Super good. And yes, of course, all the falafel and kebabs over there, they are used. Mind-blowing. Super good. Did I see any war scars? Well, yes. Especially in Mosul. When I went there, we went to an area which is completely destroyed from IS, Daesh. So 2017 that happened, and that part of Mosul is just in ruins, you know. It's
Okay. This is completely... This was a home?
Yes. All these warehouses for people.
Houses for people.
Yeah.
It's really tragic to see and experience. I was so overwhelmed walking around there. Terrible. Otherwise, in Baghdad, I could see as well war scars around there. Some buildings that were bombed and destroyed and stuff. So yeah, you will see that in Iraq. But they're trying to restore everything, make it better. Still in Mosul, you have a really nice new city. You can walk around there and the bazaars. And the same in Baghdad, you have the new part to experience there. So it's many possibilities. And of course, on the small villages and in towns, which I didn't go to, you can see scars as well, I guess. But this is the two places where I really could experience it and see it from the past. What is the positive and the negative thing about Iraq? What's your opinion about that? So to start with, the negative part of Iraq is that you have a lot of garbage. This is breaking my heart to see all the plastic outside in the nature, on the streets. I wish they could do more with that. I saw some organizations trying to pick up a lot of things over there, but it's much to do. One more negative thing about Iraq is the crossing from Kurdistan region to the federal Iraq. That was really tricky to me, and yeah, I hope they find a solution for that somehow and make it much easier, because it was a lot of hassle, unfortunately. The positive part is all the people. My God, all the people in Iraq. I am so overwhelmed of all the kindness and the support and help along the way. Anywhere I went, people you stopped and asked, "Are you okay? Do you need help?" Or just with families who invited me to come and eat with them and showing me around, just pure kindness. I never experienced something like this. This is the first time for me to experience this kind of kindness. And I've been backpacking for 8 years around the world. But this filled my eyes with tears many times. Yeah, Iraqi hospitality for me is just... We have a lot to learn from you. We have a lot to learn. Amazing. It was an amazing experience. And I hope to be back soon again. I would say the landscape and the culture, you still have a lot of mountains up in the north, which you can experience. It's beautiful. And then you have the culture part in the south of Federal, where you can go and see different kind of ancient cities and temples and stuff. It's amazing. A lot of people ask me if I had to bribe the police or the militaries while I was in Iraq. And nope, I never experienced anything like that. Never. And I don't think I really heard of that in Iraq neither from different travelers. But no, it's just pure kindness what I experienced. Nothing like that. People come with water, food, if the checkpoints, and just want to take selfies and have a little chat. That's it. The police I met, they invite me for food or invite me to their families, and just, you know, pure kindness. Never had any problem with the authorities there at all. Is it safe to travel to Iraq? That's one of the most common questions I got during my journey over there. And I can only speak from my perspective as a traveler and what I experienced, of course, there, and what I heard from other travelers as well. But overall, my journey there was completely safe. I didn't have an issue at all. I've been traveling around the world for 8 years with a backpack, and I think Iraq was one of the safest places I traveled to, at least what it felt for me. I was just with amazing people, and I didn't have any problems at the checkpoints. People was chatty, taking pictures and being awfully sweet, you know? In my case, I didn't see a problem at all. Then you still have the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Sweden telling you not to travel to Iraq. They give the recommendations not to go there. It's okay to travel to Duhok, Erbil, Sulaymaniyah, but they advise you not to go to Federal Iraq. But Federal Iraq for me was amazing. I had a really good time there and I want to go back. I felt super safe over there and I had a really good contacts along the way as well. But I mainly stayed at the big cities and I followed the main roads as well, so I didn't go and travel to the small towns outside, and I got advice to do that, which I strictly followed. There's still things happening in Iraq, and there's still some Daesh people over there, and yeah, things are happening as well. In the same time, it's happening thing in Sweden as well. We have bombs there and a bit of terror. It felt like a massive hug to enter Iraq. People are so kind. We have a lot to learn from them. Yeah, wow, I will take that with me. They're really strong, the Iraqis. Very strong. Otherwise, safety, like all the checkpoints were alright. I didn't have a problem. Not at all. Kindness. You spread kindness and could throw, I love you, I like you, but they would never do anything. It's just because they're very excited that you are there. But I never had anyone try to do anything to me like I had in other countries I traveled to. From my experience, no, nothing. Maybe a grumpy policeman somewhere, but nothing that I was like, oh, he's scary, nothing at all. The most scary part in Iraq was one of the thunderstorms there I ended up in, and when I was stuck in the Kurdistan region, when I couldn't get my visa for Federal Iraq. That is the tricky part about Iraq, I guess. And how is it for a solo female to travel in Iraq? That's another thing. I didn't see any differences to travel as a solo female in Iraq. I had the best experience ever. People could be a little bit overprotecting because I was by myself. So some families, they didn't let me go outside by myself. And you know, free spirit, I do what I want. So it was a little bit hard for me to go into that. And but you gotta respect it. That was probably the only issue I had, but it's just pure kindness from them. They just worried about you. Otherwise, I didn't feel any harassment, nothing from anyone. So I never felt like I was in danger when I was in Iraq. I always felt safe because I was really careful when I went to Iraq as well. I always had a contact person that I could contact if something happened. So that was a good part. His name is Ali, and if you need his contact, if you're traveling to Iraq and need some support, I will give you the number to him. And some other female travelers been there as well, which I met, and it was the same. Not at all. The only thing they said, it was the same as me too, that families wanted you to stay inside the house and not walk outside. So that was the only thing. Otherwise, it's all good. And as I said, things can happen anywhere in this world. There are bad apples in Iraq as well, like every country. So just use your intuition and your gut feeling and you will be alright, I'm sure. Would I recommend anyone to travel to Iraq? Not everyone,
But people have traveled in their life, absolutely. A little bit more experienced traveler, definitely go to Iraq, you will have a blast. Iraq is more to explore the culture and the people. It's an adventure. It's an adventure to go there. Because everything is not fully developed for tourism. But I hope one day there will be. It's fantastic, fantastic to see. Why did I go to Iraq? I know I changed my plan. I was supposed to go Turkey, Iran, Pakistan, India. But I decided to add on some extra countries. So I thought, why not go to Iraq? Because I knew some other travelers that were there. So I talked to them and they said, just go. You will have a good time there. But in the same time, you looked at the news and it was a completely different experience. In the news, it was just bombs, terror, death, you know. So you saw that side and then you heard the other side from the travelers who were actually there. So I decided to listen to the travelers and the local people over there. And I went. I was really nervous in the border when I was going to Iraq. Because I thought, okay, I'm gonna die like directly when I enter the border. You know, I have so many voices talking in my head from people telling me, you will die. You will get kidnapped. Are you crazy? Why are you going there? So all those thoughts was just coming right into my mind when I crossed the border. And I entered. And it was the opposite. The guys welcomed me with dates and water, and I had to do an interview there in the passport control. Gave me some information about Iraq, where to go next and so on. So I was just overwhelmed the first minutes I was there. And then I met a Kurdish guy there. I spoke Swedish. It was so good. It was so good. Completely the opposite. And I can say my whole journey in Iraq has been the opposite what media says. Media want to picture Iraq as bombs, terror, kidnapping. Sure, it was a lot like that before, but it changed. It's not like that anymore. Still, there are some few terrorists around there running around, but in general, it's okay. It's alright. I'm so happy that I went to Iraq and got to experience the culture, the people, the landscape over there. I'm very happy for that. So the conclusion is that my experience in Iraq was totally fine. I did my research beforehand. I went to Iraq. I knew about the issue with the Kurdistan federal border. I made some contacts before I went to Iraq just to be safe, and I've been talking to travelers there and kept myself updated on the latest things happening there, which is very important for every country you go to. And you need to be careful, of course, wherever you go, and listen to your inner gut and your intuition, and it will help you a lot on the way. And of course, listen to the locals. The locals knows the best over there. That was it. That was Iraq for me. A big heart, a big warm hug. Thank you so much for everything, everyone. It's been the time of my life. I'll be back one day, as I said, and I'm looking forward. Thank you so much for joining my adventure from Sweden to Nepal. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and join my Patreon family as well. There's more behind the scene exclusive material there. Take care, and I'll see you soon.